Hi, today I'll be showing you a quick tutorial on how to set up your paper for APA formatting before you begin writing. So the first thing I'd like to show you is just what you're looking at. So this is the blank screen that comes up when Word is first turned on. Now, as long as you haven't done anything to the settings of Word, it should already have the correct margin and spacing set up. So as long as you're using the normal template, you are in the APA formatting, so you don't have to do anything to affect the margins. On the other hand, typically, Word will start you off with double-spaced, don't add space between the paragraphs. So you will want to change that at the beginning of your paper to don't add the space and to keep it at double space. There is a way to set this up as a default in Word so that it always loads the same way every time you open a new document. And you can do that by going up to here where it says Normal, right-clicking your mouse and hitting Modify. From Modify, you can change all the default settings here. So you always want your paper to be in Times New Roman, size 12 font. So that should always be in all the same templates. And in order to make this go to all the new documents based on this template, you'll want to check that button. And from the Format button, you can address the paragraph spacing. So I have already done mine so that it's always at a single paragraph, there's single spacing with the don't add space afterwards. And technically, you'll want these both to be 0. So you hit OK. And OK again. So now, the next time you open up a new document, you simply have to make sure that you're checked on normal here, and that automatically should happen. The formatting should be correct. Now, the tricky thing in APA formatting is that they require headings. And these headings have to be different. The first page is different than the rest of the document. So when you're in Word, you'll go over to Insert, Header, and I always just choose the first blank one here. You don't have to do anything fancy. So just click on that. And from here, you're given a bunch of different options at the top. The first one is Different First Page. So that is what you're going to want to check for an APA paper, because the title page is going to be a different header than the rest of the document. So now you are in the first page header style. So we will do our running head just as prescribed in the APA manual. And when you type out your title, you may want to abbreviate it if it's small or if it's too long to fit concisely on the top. So the paper I wrote was called Twisted Thinking, the Role and Responsibility of Magical Thinking in OCD. That's way too long for the running head, so I have shortened it just to Twisted Thinking. And you'll notice that it's all in capitalized. So the titles and the running heads are always going to be capitalized, but the word running head is not capitalized except for the word running. And why they do this is because if you submit your paper in for publication, they want to know if they should drop it on the ground, what page belongs to what paper. So they will know every page that goes through here, if it's a 20-page or 50-page, 100-page document, that every page belongs to this article, Twisted Thinking. From here, you'll want to add the page number. So I just hit the Tab button twice until you're over in that right corner. And you'll go up here into Insert again and Page Number. So it's going to give you a couple of options. I always go current position and then just choose the first one. So now you've created your heading for the first page. Now remember, we learned that the heading is different on the title page than it is on the rest of the document. So you're going to scroll down to the second page, which I will have to add some text to do that. So hang on, let me get 2 pages here. All right, so then we go back up here where it says type here, double click, and we're back in the header again. So like I said, the second and third and the rest of the pages are all the same from here. It's just the title page that's different. So we're going to do Twisted Thinking. And here again, you're going to have to do the page number. So hit the tab button twice and go over to Insert, Page Number, Current Position, and just do plain, and it automatically populates page 2 because you're on page 2. And if you ever want to exit the header editing button, you can either press Escape or just double click outside of the document and you'll leave the header position. So this is our running head. You can see we have it on this page as running head Twisted Thinking page 1. This would be our title page if I had documents here. And the second and the third one have the header. There is no footer requirements in APA, so we don't need to learn about that today. The other thing I want to show you is how to set up a reference page. So I have a little short reference page that I've designed up here. So when I type, I always type in single space first, just because I like the look of it. Obviously, the final project for you would have to be in double space. So you can see in APA that all of the reference sections have this hanging indent, which means the first line of the citation is at the normal spacing, but the second, third, fourth, fifth are all indented. So when you're typing, Microsoft Word doesn't always automatically do that. This is what it's going to look like after you've just typed it up. So from here, click at the beginning of the second line, and you're going to hit Enter. Ooh. Start this from scratch. That one's already been formatted correctly. So we're going to rewrite it. And keeping track of the APA format, remember I use the ampersand when there's two authors. And the title is only capitalized by the first word. If there were a colon and a second sentence after disorder, I would capitalize the following word after the colon. And remember that journal titles are always italicized. As well as the volume number in APA. That is italicized, but the issue number is not italicized. And then you would put the page numbers 250 to 254. And this one does not have an ROI, so instead I'm putting retrieved from colon and then placing the hyperlink from where I obtained that. So that could either be your URL from EBSCO, or if you were on academia.edu or ResearchGate, any of those. So after you've typed that, again, you'll go back here to the second line and press Enter. And you'll note that it just moved ever so slightly. And from there, you can press the Tab key. If you do not press Enter, and you just typed it, so we'll take an example of the second one. And you'll note this one has a colon, so after the colon, I have capitalized the word the. This one's got kind of a long title. Italicize, sorry. And there's a quick keyboard shortcut for italicizing. If you simply hit Control-I, you can go between italics and regular. And this particular one does not have an issue number, so I'm just going to skip right over it and go to the page numbers. It does have a DOI, however. And APA technically calls for the lowercase d when you're writing DOI, but I know that Microsoft will auto-populate it. So I'm just going to copy this DOI from here. So we have our typed up citation here. And for example, if we do not hit enter at the second line and we just go straight to tab, it's going to move the whole shebang over and you're not going to have that hanging indent. So that is why we hit enter and then tab. And then you go to the next line and go to the beginning of it. And I believe you can just hit tab from there on and it just figures itself out. And that's how you get the hanging indent. So always remember the enter and then tab. And when you're in Word and you've written a URL, sometimes it's going to make the URL blue and try to make it into a hyperlink. It's going to think you're smart. You will want to go through and right-click the hyperlink, and it will give you an option to remove that hyperlink. So let's just do a sample there. We're going to do www.academia.eu. See how it has turned itself blue. From there, we just highlight it, right-click the mouse, and go to remove hyperlink, and it will get rid of that hyperlink. You don't really want that in your final product. And I don't know if you noticed here earlier, but when I hit enter, it doesn't go back over to the original spacing. So you'll want to hit the backspace button to go back. And then from there, you'll be on the correct line. So again, when you're writing your reference page, you'll want to hit enter and then tab. So you'll notice that one actually entered because I've already hit the enter key. So that is already ready to tab over. So the formatting is already correct on that one, but it's enter and then tab to get the hanging dent. Other things to note when you're doing a paper is to always remember that you want to have a separate new page for your references and don't tack them onto the end of your article. So you'll want to do a page break, which you can find here in Insert, Page Break. So when you're at, if this were the final page and you'd had a paragraph of text, you just go right, enter it, and then hit Page Break, and that would give you a new page. And then from there, you can start typing because, like I said, as long as you're using the default settings in Word and you've gone through and made sure that the paragraph is all correctly lined up with no spaces between the paragraphs, and then double spacing and 12-point font Times New Roman, you should be good to go. So I hope this video helped you understand Microsoft Word a little better.